Ladies and gentlemen, what is up, risk takers? Welcome to the Kill Pete strategy. I am Pete. I am a top player in Risk Global Domination. I have a daily show on YouTube. I do weekday streams on Twitch, and if you are interested in getting better at the game of Risk, I invite you to subscribe to the channels and come along the ride with me. Hey. 4-player with pseudo blizzards. It's tough. That's a toughie. Like this spot, though. We'll start here. So our board looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the hard chokes. I'm showing you all the hard chokes because I want to show you how the map connects. This is Airship, Progressive Capitals. My variant on Airship. Okay. So I think anyone on the outside of this cap, I need the wheel, basically. And this is the other end of the map. We have 2 midpoints, so I'm going to come out of this top pocket and hope to win it. And that top pocket chokes to here, which is where I'm going to cap. I can go inside, too. Kind of guard the wheel that way, then here, and then ultimately here before the first split. Let's just hedge with this because this will also guard the +1. Okay, looks like we're good. Looks like black and blue are our bots, so our bots act last. This is Airship, Progressive Capitals, Auto 60 with a semi-auto setup, neutral bot, Progressive cards, balance, blitz dice, and then fog and blizzard are on. Portals lights are off, and I'm in the 3rd seat, playing as orange. And let's see how the cookie crumbles. We see green's cap. Green capped on a 1, oddly. Hope to see a pretty dominating performance. So turn 1's going to be this. Turn 2 is going to be this. And maybe fill in the gaps. And then turn 3, start push. I want to make sure nothing's behind my capital first. We don't see anyone else's cap other than black's. No green. No, no, no. No green. You don't get to hold anything behind my capital. What the fuck are you doing? Do you want me to roll yours turn 1? What the fuck are you doing? He knows where I capped and he's still doing this shit. Are you a dope? No green. Let's not. No green. We will not be doing that. The fuck are you doing? Come on. Get with it. Seriously. Okay, and there's white. Okay. And then we're going to have 2 pseudo blizzards instead of what you would normally want to have happen in this case is to kick all the players back to the lobby and reset the lobby without having 2 stacker bots for the entirety of the game, or have the bots act as automated. Either of those are better choices than the one we currently have, which is have the bot stack for the entirety of the game. No one would choose that. No one would want that. It's strange to me that this has lasted this long. Maybe I should like create a notes document when I play. I can kind of talk about the design flaws as I see them. I think that's what I'm going to start to do, rather than just complain and complain to you guys, which is not productive. I want to actually help make the game better in a more sort of organized way. 8 troops, 8 troops. Okay. And green has 7. If green puts more troops behind my capital, they are a dumb, dumb, dumb head. Also, they haven't put any troops on their actual capital, so I will be rolling that. There they are. All right, they're going to get into a war with white. So what you should have been doing on your first turn, by the way. Working on that split position that I was obviously going to always have. Not your best move. I think I can push off cap now. I'm not worried about getting cuckooed by black as their neutral bot. And white on 12. White doesn't quite know where I am yet, but I think they're in 2 places. So white's cap might not be there. Let's do this carefully. This is also a very good starting position, so that's where white might be. Also, the fact that there are 2 of the 6 players not taking cards mean that the sets aren't going to increase normally. So this one's going to actually play a lot more like a fixed game than a prog game. I don't think the sets will matter. I don't think we'll get to the point where they do. And red starting with only 5. Okay, so red has been addressed by white, I think, which means now would be a great time to attack. Okay, green is strong on the bottom. I hope he doesn't continue to try to hang his hat on that split position. Green has no troops on their capital. Very soft right through the front. And? Anything? Okay. I'm still even a little worried about green. I just pop through the front door. All right, we rock through white's capital. And he tries to take it back. 7, 6, 5, 4. And all right. And he gets it, but can't really break anything else. Maybe gets the +1. You can't transfer troops to it. Yeah, you might as well try. And he gets the +1. That was expensive, but I get him. I get him out from behind me now. And now I have a even better capital, and I've successfully cuckooed white. I would even trade early if I had a set here just to make sure I clear him out from behind me. White start with 7. Was that someone else's cat, maybe? Red on 6. Okay, red's still small. And 19 for green. Jesus Christ. How is green so powerful already? Okay. Well, at least he isn't using his clock efficiently. So I'm going to have to deal with white, though, before I try and fuck around in the rest of the board. I still has getting fucking 19 has no troops on his capital. I don't even know where green is. Maybe they're on the right-hand side? Green seems to love split positions. All right, 11. Get the fuck out of my face. Get the actual fuck out of my face, White. Sets. Yeah, and chips to survive. White's now in a split position, and they're going to be attacking green. Green's going to kill you. Get the green capital, maybe? I see where white is. They're here. They now have these 2 bonuses. Interesting. I'm going to charge up. I think black still has their capital. I'm going to charge up for a turn. Stack everything on the 5. Maybe not. Maybe take the green cap here. Let's see what green does. Is red rebuilding? Yeah, red is rebuilding. Okay. The white got rocked by the Peatman. 23. Yeah, green needs to be addressed. What do you think he has? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got to have something over here then. So green, I would assume, is at war with red. He puts some nominal amount on his capital. And he set early to do that. Garden pass? No, he skipped. Okay. Sorry, green. I don't know what you're doing, but please do it elsewhere. So it's going to deal with some amount of green stuff. Is this white quitting now? I think. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just start our... Maybe we'll do it in a spreadsheet or something. Bots. Neutral. Lobby. What would you call it? Lobby. Kick back to lobby if someone fails to ready and or make bot automated. Nobody wants pseudo blizzards. The second part is neutral bot as well. Have white flag of surrender. Slow for content and gameplay. All right. And green is now going to fight a losing battle with me. Five v 3 and lucky with those 2v1s. All right. We're just going to do the exact same thing as the last turn, but this time with a little bit more force. Nice. I landed 2v1s as well. Get your cap. Probably it for green. The gentleman didn't put troops on his capital. Yeah, and white is gone. What should I call this document? Stop complaining, start fixing. Stop complaining, start. Cool. Oh, red is going to take a peek and force me to deal with them. And then this game will be over. Yeah. Sits there with a 10, as if I'm not going to roll it. Come on, green. There you go. Let's just clear this back section and hold on the cap. Or do I want to fucking slam red? I don't know. I'm not terribly worried about green yet. Let's slam red. The set is super low, right? Yeah, there's no reason to be cautious here. Nice, we lose 4 on a fucking 10 stack. We don't need to worry about that either. Discard my main piece. Green has a set that can take back their cap. But now my real position is impervious to red. I'll get in on the bottom line. Lobby, kickback to lobby if someone fails to ready and or make bot automated. Nobody wants pseudo blizzards. Bring back white flag surrender. Slow for content gameplay encourages botting out for value. The other thing you don't want to see. You really don't want to encourage players to bot out for value. Maybe I'll make this document public somewhere. You guys can write notes on it, I guess. Okay, red's going to attack me on the bottom line now. Just put red to bed. Put him out to pasture. Does green go for their cap back? I don't even think red is, or green is, rather. Green have all this now? A second cap. We're almost done this game. It's behind red. That's funny. Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's probably a good game. Let's put on the outer cap. I don't expect anyone gets this deep inside me again. Go to 5. Red's on 5. Red's been pacified. And red was also allowing themselves to get cuckooed by green, which is weird. I think this is it for white, so we'll just kill them. 6 for red. Sats gets the 12. And which way does the 30 go? Does he not remember that I have a 37 cap? Or maybe he doesn't open it. No, he has to. That doesn't go any other way. That doesn't go any other way but into my capital. He forgot. Okay, great. Good game. Yeah, you die. 15 for green. Green's going to keep trying to resist me. No, green's going for red. Well, red's on 3. Pretty confident I have the red kill. For whatever reason, I don't want red to get a higher placement than green, though. And we know that green has no capital. Why do this? They do have a capital. That's why red couldn't get the node from behind them. Okay, well, you can have one more card, I guess. And if red has a set on 3, what would they do? I don't think anything impactful. Red might break the sort of semi-block I have on green. Don't worry, Red. I, for whatever reason, feel more favorable to you. As long as you don't force me to kill you first. And it's going to be like 20v7. Good roll. Pyo. Nice. That's okay. 10 troops left. I mean, I should just kill red first. He really isn't giving me any reason not to. I mean, good on these guys both for hitting, I guess. See you later, Zeus. All right, and let's see if he has a set on 3. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, our Q&A question for today is from Confused Links. Hello. Hi, Pete. I'm curious about your thoughts on moral autonomy in the context of contemporary Western market economy cultures. Wow. Okay, we're going deep, folks. Moral autonomy. Sure. Throughout our history, with every cultural revolution and deposed tyrant, we have seemingly welcomed new systems that merely benefit a new set of tyrants to take their place. Seemingly welcomed, I would take exception to, but I take your point. Of course, our lives have also improved tremendously compared to the previous eras. This is well written. This gentleman is using economy of words, so I would just like to point that out. Thank you for following the rules of style. Thank you very much. Of course, our lives have also improved tremendously compared to previous eras, but that might be a contributing factor to us accepting the vices of our current system. It's a great way of putting it. In short, we have an economic and political system that rewards influence and manipulation extensively. Those that master the art of manipulation while also discarding the preservation of moral autonomy in those they seek to influence are hoarding wealth, status, and power like never before. Examples being politicians that sow doubts about the credibility of experts and even their own political institutions. GG Green. Oh, he's not here to listen. We have to wait the whole minute. So doubt. Politicians that sow doubt about the credibility of experts and even their own political institutions, and marketing that sculpt socioeconomic norms, which weaponizes its consumers into advertisers through our displays of status and conformity in social media. We consume not only out of needs or wants, but out of fear of deviance. When speaking about free will, I believe you have proposed the idea that we can choose between what we want and what we don't want. But we can't choose what we want. Has our environment become so manipulative that perhaps we now don't choose what we don't want? And is cultural change really possible now that we've handed the keys to it so fully over to the people that benefit from the current system? In other words, when we choose to fight for what we believe is right or good rather than pleasant and comfortable, can we, in our current cultural environment, truly possess the sufficient moral autonomy to know that the fight wasn't chosen for us by those who benefit from the current system? This is well written and a very deep question. So, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look up a definition of moral autonomy. So, we are all talking about the same thing. Moral autonomy refers to the capacity of an individual to make ethical decisions based on their own reasoning and principles rather than simply following external rules or the dictates of others. Okay? So if I am reading into Confused Links' question, I would surmise that Confused Links is picking at the concept of moral autonomy and wondering whether or not we act that way. And I think the we here matters. So I think there are some people who have a greater capacity for moral autonomy than others. People aren't equal, right? We have positive and negative attributes, and we all get a shuffled deck of cards that is revealed to us when we are born. This is actually how I answer your question. I don't think it's all one or the other. I think it depends on who you are. It depends on what you know. It depends on how much power you have, how much autonomy you have. Let me answer the actual question, because I could really talk about this forever. How about before I do that, I will just summarize. So I would say what Confused Links is saying in the fewest possible words is, we are manipulated by the powerful. The masses are manipulated by the powerful, economically, socially, culturally, and perhaps ethically. So, how do we go about making ethical decisions, making autonomous ethical decisions given that? And my short answer to that question is, we don't really. Right? We don't make autonomous ethical decisions in the sense that no man is an island and you cannot exist outside of your culture. Right? So all of the ethical presuppositions of your culture are baked into your being. And they're baked into your being by virtue of the fact that you were born into this world and you were not born into another at another time in another place, etc. So I can point to a number of examples in my life where my choices were heavily influenced by the propaganda of the time. I would say the earliest sort of propaganda I experienced would be Disney movies, right? Disney movies are this sort of fairy tale of, damsel, at least when I was a kid, damsel in distress, prince comes as the savior, slays the dragon metaphorically, happily ever after, 2.5 kids, and the programming of that default norm into me was something that I had to only later realize, well, perhaps there are other modes of being. Perhaps there are other types of families. Perhaps there are other ways of approaching relationships with people rather than, Disney princess meets Prince Charming and happily ever after. And that's just the first one I can point to, right? There's so many economic choices, right? I am encouraged to, my fridge breaks, and I'm encouraged to throw it out and buy a new fridge because it would cost just as much to replace the part that broke. Now, am I acting with moral autonomy there, right? I would not choose to throw out a whole fridge, but for the tiny piece that broke, right? I would choose to pay to have it repaired. But my moral autonomy is in conflict with my rational need to economize. And I can point to a million examples, but I think we don't need to beat the dead horse. The question is this: Has our environment become so manipulative that we are perhaps also now don't choose what we don't want? And is cultural change really possible now that we've handed the keys to it so fully over to the very people that benefit from the current system? There's nothing unique about this. This is not a now problem. This is, if you know anything about history, this has always been the way it is. The powerful remain powerful. The powerful have vested interests to maintain the status quo such that the systems in place benefit them. Take that information, eyes open, and do with it what you will. Act with as much autonomy as you possibly can, given the constraints of your life. You must breathe. You must eat. You must sleep. You know, we are all born naked to a mother. There are some, very few, human universals. But it doesn't undermine the entire concept of moral autonomy. It just allows us to calibrate what our expectation of how much autonomy we should have is. In other words, when we choose to fight for what we believe is right or good rather than pleasant or comfortable, can we, in our current cultural environment, truly possess the sufficient moral autonomy to know that the fight wasn't chosen by us? We don't know anything, right? You have to go with your gut. This is why we have a conscience, at least the 90% of us that aren't psychopathic. Defeating one novice, one beginner, and one expert, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. And thank you very much for the question, Confused Links. That was a great question. It was very well written. I think you could have still economized for the words. As always, folks, if you're going to ask questions, I really do appreciate it. I love talking to you guys about ideas. Please edit for clarity, brevity, and coherence. The fewest possible words makes it easier for me to read and easier for you guys all to listen. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, for all of you on the path to world domination, good games and good luck.